Good evening, boys and girls. Happy Tuesday-ish. The band is finally back together. That's right. No more PTO for Hillsy. Or, well, hold on. After today, that might be not true. So here we go. It's the Tuesday-ish Club. The boys are back in town.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls. If you are watching the Champions League, you are missing out on this live extravaganza. Finally, we have these two former Arsenal teammates back together. Firstly, it's my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies. Welcome back to the Tuesdays Club, Squaddies. At ease. Let's go.
And finally back from his multiple vacations and paid time off, the one, the only, an Arsenal favourite through and through, Mr. David Hillier.
Yeah, I made it back. I flew back in and I'm going to fly out tomorrow.
Super Kev, can you hear this? It's another vacation tomorrow, apparently.
Hey, listen, coming on here takes it out of him. He's got to recover. Obviously, the Squaddies are. It's hard, isn't it?
I'm losing the tan. I've been starved the last couple of years of the sunshine. So yeah, going to make the most of it. Have a little break again tomorrow. Leave the home in the safe hands of my son, who said that he'll only have 7 parties while I'm away.
Cool.
It's a worry. I'm only away for 6 nights. So
well, there you go.
That's 6 nights.
Have a double day.
You've seen Risky Business. You know what happens. Cousin George just let his son have a Halloween party, Kev, over the house, but it went well. No problems, no police needed. Everything went well. So, yeah,
listen,
very
I'm
good.
sure they're not going to mess with George, I'm telling you.
No, not at all.
No
all
chance.
Right. Yes, I am hiding a bad hair day over a tea cozy, so enjoy. Let's just get right to it, shall we? Because I love it when we get to a little bit of old school talk with these two. But obviously, David hasn't been on for a while, and things have changed dramatically for the Gunners since he was last on the show. We've gone from division and throwing tomatoes and eggs to team camaraderie, team spirit, super saves, love fests, and so much more. Dave. Oh, sorry. I always like to sneak that one in.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Exactly, Ills. You tell them, mate. Listen,
Is that
there
card?
ain't many people who could
on.
bring anything off. He could bring the wig off. He could bring the bow tie off.
there
Dicky
it is
bow.
again.
There you go.
Look at that.
I make them wigs look good, man. Look at that.
You had, Kev, I don't know. I'm just a bit worried that you had access to all of these accessories, you know.
Well, the fans who give it to me, mate, so I'll take it. Don't worry about that.
All right. Enough of me. David, take over. From the last time we spoke, there was despair.
Yeah.
And here we are. Team's on a bit of a roll. I've said to Kev, it's a great half-time performance, half of a performance against Tottenham, dominant against Villa, dominant against Leicester, but faded in the second halves a little bit, something I guess that's part of the progression. Talk to us. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I think we did fade in both the games. I think there was a little bit of fatigue. We saw the lads sort of getting a little bit of stretching for cramp and that, didn't we, at times? So, you know, there was a lot of effort went into these games. And I think because of the formation change as well, they've had to be a lot stricter in their positions. I think it's definitely stabilised the team. You know, because as much as we loved seeing Emil and Bakayo play all the way across the pitch, in and out, drifting, you know, and being fluid, it did take a bit of structure away. And they've proved that they can do just as much damage by being in the same place and operating in the same areas, good little triangles and stuff. So we've seen high energy and high press at the start of games. I think we've wanted to take the teams early and get a start in the game. But that comes at a price, and it came at the price at the end of each half in the games. Even against Leeds a little bit, it crept in, but that's to be expected. The good thing is that this team can hopefully stay fit and consistent and play sort of every week, every 6 or 7 days. They're not having to be forced to play too many midweek games, only the Carabao. So yeah, it could be a good period for this team to develop as a squad of like sort of 16 really. I don't really want to break other players into it. I want to see a squad of 16 carry this through, because they're the teams that are the best teams, the ones the manager don't have to change, the one that picks themselves. And that's what they're starting to get. We're starting to see a little bit of. So I think the hope that we've all had in the last few weeks has been born from that, the stability of the side.
Okay, so I wanted to get you and Kev to talk us through this a little bit, because I did bring it up with Kev about 2.5 months ago. You both talked about how you would love Arteta to just play a 4-4-2. And there are times also where you've both talked about how the players, because you've been there, like when you go out and you're playing, everything that you've done on the training pitch that whole week, it's down to the players to really kind of execute whatever it is the work has been in that time period. And then when you guys talk about that combination, I also want to touch on how a lot of experts are talking about how it's really not a 4-4-2 going. It is a 4-4-2 going forward, but it's more of a 4-2-3-1 when we're transitioning and going back. So firstly, both of you, I want to hear, what was it you saw, even in the terrible team, without Ben White, without Nuno, without Tomiyasu, without Ramsdale, without those players? You guys already had that vision. Can you talk me through what you saw then, and then to know that these players who are here now are executing it? Kev, David?
I'll wait for Hills to say his bit, because I've been on quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hills hasn't been on, so let's hear you first, Hills, and then I'll come in after, mate.
Well, reasons why I think it wasn't working and why it maybe is now with the system is because we wasn't able to get our forwards in the game. We weren't able to get. Me and Kev had not arguments about it, but we did actually disagree at times, because I said to Kev that Oba weren't getting himself in the games, and Kev said he'd watched him making the runs and not getting the balls, and we wasn't playing to his needs.
Yeah,
we weren't playing to his strengths. Yeah, I think we're asking him to do a little bit of things that ain't his strengths now as well, Kev. Coming short, being part of a set-up play. They're not really his strengths, but we weren't even playing, saying we want you to come short and then trying to get the ball in there. These last few games, the speed that we transition the ball from the back to the front has been so much better. And when we haven't been able to make the pass, we've seen driving runs from central defenders and fullbacks cutting inside and actually piercing the opposition, getting beyond them, getting more numbers beyond them. So we're getting the ball and a player further up the pitch every time we get the ball at the back. We're incorporating the forwards much more at the moment, and the system allows us to do that. And part of it is because I think Bakayo and Emil have been pinned on the sides a little bit, and they're just coming into the play at the right time. Emil does it naturally, and Bakayo, I think he likes to get involved. He wants to come in and play a bit more than Emil. Emil's happy to drift in and out, but I think just getting back to it, the transition definitely between the ball going from at the back to getting to the forward and sticking to the front man, or him having an option where he lays it off, has just worked in this system over the last few weeks. Erdegaard, we've seen, hasn't been able to get in the side because where does he fit in it? Thomas Partey and Lokonga are doing that in one pass. They don't need to hit a number 10 now to hit the forward. They're hitting the forward and it's coming back into the midfield. So that's where I think we're doing well at the moment. Definitely.
Yeah, if I could just add to what Hill said there, so I think the key to everything is when we don't have the ball, I think you got it spun round sometimes.
Yeah,
when we don't have the ball,
Kev.
we're 4-4-2, we're set, we know our jobs. That is so important. We know Aubameyang, usually when we haven't got the ball, Lacazette comes into the when we have got the ball, Lacazette's in the number 10. When we haven't got the ball, there's times where whichever side Aubameyang goes to press, Lacazette will move to do the opposite work. So if they play it across the back, you won't see Aubameyang running all the way across the pitch. The next one across will be Lacazette. Then if it goes to the fullback on their left back, then you see Saka go. If it goes the opposite way, then you see Smith Rowe go. I think knowing your jobs as a 4-4-2 makes life a lot more easier because you've got somebody talking to you behind, you've got your midfielders, etc. I think the key to us is to try and be as fluid as we can, which Hills is right. It's more natural for Smith Rowe to drift in from out to in. Saka,
Exactly.
obviously being on the opposite side, which is a left footer, he wants to kind of come in all the time because he's a lefty. That's where all the space is. But we have to try and keep as much width as we can on one side. And I think that's why Saka is maybe not as involved sometimes as we would like. But Smith Rowe, you see him run from the centre of the pitch. He's comfortable there. And it creates a problem for their fullback because who picks him up?
But he's also got Tavares, isn't he, on that side? So he knows
That was going to be my next point. So if
when
the fullback
Emile
comes in
off the flank, he comes in and plays an inside forward on that side, like an old inside right or an old inside left. That's how Saka and Emile are playing a little bit. Then it gives the space. Tomiyasu's not as rampant down that side yet, but certainly with Tavares there, he can tuck inside. And what's also good is we're not sacrificing Thomas Partey or Sambi Lokonga to go in at left back when our left back goes forward. That's not a sacrifice.
They could stay in the centre of the pitch. Yeah, they could stay in the centre of the pitch.
The defenders are happy enough and listen. We've not played Liverpool yet, so things might change, because those little areas around the sides of the central defenders will get exposed by really good players. Good players only need a yard, so it don't matter how tight they're marked, or so it will come into question in those games, and we'll have to be careful. But against the teams where we can push forward against them and give them problems, we will do it well with Tavares at left back and Emile playing the way he does, coming inside, feeding them passes in when he's not up there to do it. It's been a delight to watch, and it's very simple.
Hills, I also think, you look at Leicester, what Leicester had to do second half. They had to adjust. They brought on more attacking players.
And 2 subs, Kev, at half-time.
They put 2 subs on at half-time, and then they brought Pax and Daka on as well. And kept all the... So look at all the weapons that were on. We had to defend. You have to defend them because they get desperate. Against Liverpool, Klopp tends to, if he's gonna do anything, he tends to take one forward off and bring another forward on. He likes to keep his shape. The key is we have to defend them properly. That's the key. We have to defend Liverpool properly.
Well, I suppose it depends if Liverpool are 2-0 down against us. I mean, if Liverpool go 2-0 down, then we will see a different decision made by Klopp, won't we? And that's exactly what Rodgers faced with Leicester. I think he was surprised that his side were 2-0 down against Arsenal. And, in fairness, they had a couple of little chances and, balls went across the box. And we know there was a couple of great saves by Ramsdale. But I never felt in that game that
for the home team.
I never felt for the first time in a little while that we was fragile.
Yeah.
At 2-1, we was at risk still. At 2-0, we was at risk because it takes you to 2-1, and in the last 10 minutes, Vardy always causes problems. But he didn't get a sniff. He didn't get a sniff the whole game. So they wasn't ready for that.
No, and that's why I feel like we're a first half force and we're a second half kind of defensive unit, if you like. We trust ourselves now to maybe get a couple goals in that first half, maybe even 3, and then defend that realm in the second half. But like you say, with better teams, is that going to be something that
we're not Barcelona? We can't take that for granted that we can leave 2 against 2 at the back and let our forwards go and win games because we're that good. We ain't that good.
No,
one spring don't make a summer. But I think we need to just concentrate on what we're doing. And it does remind me of the old days, Kev, of when, we had 6 defenders on the pitch and 4 forwards.
Yeah.
2 wingers and 2 centre forwards. They went and won the game, and 1 centre midfield would go in and join in. And anything else from anyone else was a bonus. But the fundamentals were you had 6 people protecting the goal and 4 people were going out trying to get one. And that's what it seems it's like at the moment. And then you get the other players trying to chip in, the fullbacks trying to chip in, your central defenders get scoring goals from set pieces again.
Set piece coach is working.
What we need to do. It's what we need to do.
He's made an impact quite.
It's a simple
quickly.
game. It's a simple game. It's been overcomplicated, I think, and easy for Arsenal players just to dance around playing 5-a-side football for a few years. And the results now are showing that a change was needed. And a more direct approach was needed.
Exactly. And I think I find it fascinating that you guys hit on the 4-4-2 before this team even came together, which is what I find fascinating. Because even with the talent we thought we had, you guys were already talking about trying to find wins for Arteta. And I believe you both said, if you want some short-term wins, this is the formation to play. So I wanted to put up a question for you from Johnny Boy, because I thought it was poignant in what we were just talking about, is that, where is it? He talked about, is there a weakness in what we're doing that better teams are going to expose? You talked about it very loosely, but for example, forget Watford, right? Even though Watford are going to cause us problems with the way Ranieri likes to play as well, maybe we can dovetail the two. But do you find that with Liverpool, we'll have to revert back to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 or what? You guys talk me through that a little bit.
No. For me, I don't think we have to revert at all. The key to any game, Sophie, and I keep saying it, and people drives you mad. You've got to impose yourself and do better than your opponent on the pitch. That's the key. Obviously, the way Liverpool set up and the way we set up, there are pluses and minuses. Because when they're front three, they feed their front three very quickly. Okay? And they want to catch you on the break. They want to catch you on the hop. And before you know it, you're on the attack. You give the ball away. Next minute, bam, they're in at your goal because they've got so much speed at the top end of the pitch. The key for us is, can we control them enough so we could impose our style on them? Because down the sides, we've got 2v1 most of the time. The fullback and our wide players, we have got them as a combination to go outside them. We have to try and do that. But what that does, Sophie, when our fullbacks commit, obviously it leaves you a bit exposed. And as Hill said, against better teams have the better players. That's when they could hurt you.
So my tactical naive question, Hills, is what did Brighton do so well against Liverpool? Liverpool, I think, are the best team in Europe right now. I really truly believe that. I think they've been sensational so far, and they didn't really go crazy in the transfer market. But what did Graham Potter's Brighton do to grab that point at Anfield? How did he play them? How did he play him? Well, I think first of all, you got to. It's like I said, it's about the players, and it's about the application of the players, the commitment to the system that he worked out that would not win the game, but stand them a chance of staying in the game. And I think they filled areas really quickly. They didn't any holes, any gaps when they did go forward. Which I think when I was looking at the stats for the game, I don't think Brighton had too much possession in Liverpool's final third. So they relinquish a bit of their game from that point of view to fill the holes where the three forwards and the three midfielders backing them up expose you. Salah's already worth 2 players up front, isn't he? So you could say if you had Mo Salah and 1 attacking you, it's almost, and you've got 3 defenders, that's almost a 3-on-3 because he'll take 2 players out of the game. But it's commitment. It's commitment to the cause, to the challenge. It's a big physical demand to beat a team like Liverpool. To take anything off of a team like Liverpool. But if we're going to have to go and compete with them, we're going to have to, I think, do a little bit more than just play a good 4-4-2 system. We've got to
we've got to have within that. So the 4-4-2 gives us the discipline and the structure in that game. But, you know, the key players really have to come up with the goods that day. Special things will win games against Liverpool. It will be a spectacular goal from Oba or Laka or Bukayo or Emil or Thomas Partey. It won't just be an ordinary, you know, run-of-the-mill goal is going to win the game. It's going to take a lot of effort. But I think, as Kev said, against a side like Liverpool, it's our fullbacks that can cause us the biggest problems, and our fullbacks that can cause them the biggest problems.
Okay, so
in the system.
Okay, so another piece I wanted to touch on, you guys, before we get stuck into a few other bits, is you've always talked about the players, and you know we've had honest conversations about having weak source players. And Hills, I'll start with you and go to Kev, because I kind of know how Kev feels about it, but to hear you guys riff off each other on it, you always talked about knowing there was no excuses when you were playing for the Arsenal. You would always be held to account. You always had each other's backs. You'd always be honest. We went through a real weak source moment, I'd say years, with unlikable players, to the point where when you bought a new Arsenal shirt, you'd probably have your dad's name on the back or your own name on the back versus
no
a player,
name.
or no name on the back. And all of a sudden, Mr. Hillier, we have maybe 3, 4, 5 options to have a name on the back of the shirt. You see it with young kids, especially. You see Rambo 2.0 acting a bit like you guys, you know, from back in the day with their camaraderie and everything. And I would say these two, especially together, if I can find it right here, have been an absolute sensation, real leaders. Talk me through what you see versus the Mustafi days and the Ozil days and what you see now.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that, well, not unfortunate, it's great for footballers that squads in the Premier League now are 40 players plus, 45 players plus. So, you know, you're always going to have a turnover of players at a club that maybe are never really going to set it alight in that first team and never get the click or get it. Never get in the groove with the top players. This group of players, what we're looking at now, I mean, all the pictures, you know, the camaraderie they've got, they are a real group of friends. We've seen it with Arteta before. We know that they've got a bond as players off the pitch, and at training they have a laugh. But this is on the pitch, we're seeing it now. And we're seeing it on the pitch because let's say the game's on a Saturday. I'm telling you now, at the moment, the 12 players, or say the 16 players, I'm trying to go back old school, say the 16 players that would have been in the squad, been pinned up on the squad, on the board, on the notice board on a Friday morning, right? You would be hoping and kind of knowing that you was one of them, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, right? You'd be thinking, I'm going to be there on Friday morning, my name's going to be on there. And we've got that at the moment. I think the team's consistent. Players are expecting to be in the team because they've earned the shirt the week before. They understand the value in that, and they're now representing the shirt more when they're playing. So they're playing for it week in, week out. The manager's not changing the team because he don't need to, because there's no intrusion of midweek games apart from the Carabao. When you saw he changed 10 players for the Carabao Cup game. You know, it was a complete change, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So they're well rested. They're becoming a squad, a proper squad. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Hey,
That's becoming a squad.
That's what's happening, and you get a little bit of a feeling, and I think you can see it developing. It's not a Championship League winning squad, but you can see the feelings there. They're getting, they're getting it. They're getting it, and I think the system's helping it. Yeah, the system's helping it. The lack of changes that are being made, the consistency in them, they're all getting a little bit fitter because they're not getting the injuries. They're getting time to recover, and you're seeing what they can do. Mm-hmm. And I've got to say as well, I've been to the last 4 games. The crowd, fantastic. Yeah. The crowd have been fantastic. They've really come up with it. I'll go there. There's a lot of snowflakes in our crowd at times, stand up and moan at everybody and walk out 10 minutes before the end. None of that going on at the moment. Singing, 1-0 to the Arsenal. As soon as the goal goes in, brilliant. It's brilliant. Love it. Really good atmosphere at the moment at games.
And Kev and David, Mo says this, which I'm so excited for games now. And this for me is like the biggest. I don't feel like our team is intimidated by anyone anymore. Kev, you've talked about this a lot in the past about someone kicks your player down. Our players would go to the opposing player as if to say, it's okay, baby doll, don't worry about it. No harm, no foul.
If they go over.
Yeah, do you want to swap shirts at tunnel at half time?
Yeah,
Mr.
That's if they go over.
Yeah.
Sophie, do you know what I mean? But now we're seeing there's an edge. There's an edge to our squad. There's an edge to these players. They're not backing down from anybody, which is good. There's that camaraderie, that togetherness, Sophie. And this is why it's the Tuesday-ish club.
And they're enjoying it, Kev. They're enjoying it, aren't they?
You enjoy your football more.
I've got to say, look, I've got to do this.
Go on.
You're shit. Love him. Love Ramsdale. Love him. Enjoying him. He was enjoying the game, and they loved it. The fans, they loved it when he did that.
Ills, I think you can actually feel the players enjoying the game.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's what winning does. Winning makes all the little things off the pitch, on the pitch, worthwhile. When you're winning.
Yeah, and also when you're winning the way you're being shown by the manager or the way the manager wants you to win, you start to think, oh, do you know what? I'm listening now. It's kind of working. I'm getting an understanding of it. And then you believe more. And as you believe more, you've got more, just more hope for it. It's not even hope anymore, is
belief.
It? Yeah, it's belief. You believe
that you're going to win.
It's not hope anymore.
That you're going to win.
So can I ask you both this then? Is that something, having played under George Graham, because I love to know the mentality of each of the managers, right? I asked Kevin on the show the other day, David, that the younger players seem to have infused an energy and a belief in the older players that's switched around. When you guys were coming into the team, it was the older players you looked up to, but the younger players seem to have added that juice to the Arsenal. Has this new non-intimidation vibe come from the DNA and the culture of the new players like Ramsdale that's coming, like Nuno, like Gabriel, Ben White? Or has the manager got something to do with that? Because I've always said that we've never seen an Arsenal team in Arteta's true image, and every really good manager builds a team in their image.
Yeah, I think he does, and I think he's still struggling to impart a real identity on the team that's his identity. I'm still not sure what Arteta's identity is. I know he wants to play competitive football. He likes to be, he likes to be pressing. He wants it to be neat and tidy and sharp, and he likes physical as well. But management style, I'm still not sure. I know that he's a very kind and understanding manager like Pep. He talks a lot about family and a lot about stuff like that, and he's tried to bring the players together on that level. But I think you mentioned it. He's also got an idea of having a group of young players and the enthusiasm of youth in the team. I think it's just stirred up the stuff that was already there in the other players. It's just, I don't think it was ever gone or lost. It was just, just laying dormant for a little while. And they were a bit of a catalyst in the side. But in general, all of them, the youth from all of them, not just the Sakas and the Smith Rose. I think Tavares coming in 5 games, just 2 starts in the league, 3 subs. He has already it inspired Gabriel next to him. A seasoned pro, a high level pro, been doing it for a couple of seasons in that position. And I think for players to do that, it's just because they're coming into a good side and they're enjoying it. And it goes back to the system is protecting them a little bit, allowing them to play like that. And as much as I want to say it's Arteta, I'm going to say it's the players. I'm always going to say it's the players, because a manager is only as good as the set of players he's got. You can be the best manager in the world, but if you've got crap players, you've got crap players. And I think he's,
Your dog agrees
he's
with
a
you.
good manager. He's a good
Don't
manager,
get
but
Vinny
I'm not sure his identity. I just know the players want to play that way at the moment.
So, Sophie, I want to chime in on this because
Yeah, definitely.
here's the thing. We've discussed it quite a while now, and we spoke about changing the culture in that dressing room. We spoke about it last season. In order to change the culture, you've got to get rid of the cancer first. Get it out of the club. And then you've got to start rebuilding inside that dressing room. And it's taken a bit longer than we wanted. Of course it has. But I think the manager is look at the signings he's made and how they're starting to come together now. A lot of these players have character. They have character. We've seen earlier on this season, players really not up to the character of being able to face some of the biggest teams, not even be able to face a Brentford at the first game of the season. Obviously, we saw Chelsea and Man City, etc. They weren't up for that because the character isn't there. We've seen players bail out. Not anymore. This isn't that team anymore. And it's, a line in the sand had to be drawn. And the manager, obviously, and Edu have to take, some plaudits for bringing in this type of player. I mean, some of the Arsenal fans were kicking and screaming. Let's be honest, some of them didn't agree with certain names and Ramsdale and all this kind of thing. And Ben White, the price tag above him. And who is Tommy Yasu? Who is Tavares? He's raw, he's this and that. But let's be honest, they have come together and they have helped us have a togetherness with everything that's going on. And we are moving in the right direction. We're not fully there yet. And I think we still need a couple of windows to get this squad right up to speed. But I'm happy to see this team, as Trevor Bibbon says, have a backbone. It's important.
Yeah, it is. And I think...
Yeah, and it's important... Sorry, Sav. It's important to have a backbone, even if because, if we realise our expectation and we finish where we should finish probably round about anywhere 7th, 6th, 5th. We could, and that would be fine for our squad. And I don't think Arteta's pitching at finishing any higher. I think he wants, like Kev said, he wants to get the players playing the right way first and playing at the right levels, and then we can tinker, add players to it, bring players into the system, make it better. But we've wanted for a long time to go and watch football at the Emirates and watch Arsenal when they're away, playing like a team, playing like a team without players who don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And players playing like they don't want to be there. I mean, and one criticism I've got over this period is, what the fuck is Kolasinac still doing in the squad? Seriously. When he plays, I don't see him, unless the team are like flying on top, I don't see him in the game. He hides. He don't want to be at the club. He wanted to go last window, yet he still gets in the squad, and he's taking up a position for a younger player, I think. That's my only beef, and I had it when I was.
Who would that younger player be?
The other day.
Who would that younger player be at this point? Like,
well,
I
just
agree
someone
with
coming
you.
through. I haven't got anyone earmarked for his position, but I'm just saying. I mean, even Suarez would be disappointed if he can't get in on the right side. He did play on the left side a few times. He wants to be at the club. Yet Kolasinac gets in front of him. Could play him.
No one wants him. Like everyone's saying, like no one wants. I agree. One of the things I said, and I want to get your take on it too, is I said to Kev, everyone got excited about the League Cup win against Leeds, and it was a convincing win against a team that a lot of people have lauded. But, they've had injuries. They've had problems this season. And people getting excited over Eddie Nketiah scoring in Chambers. And I'm like, we've seen this movie before. They perform well, but God forbid if we have injuries and they have to come in and play a few games in a row in the Premier League, I think we're in trouble. And that includes Kolasinac as well, David. And I just don't think you can rely on him or even a Chambers or a Holding it's such a downgrade from what we have now, which is a good thing and a bad thing. No.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna start picking the bones out of Rob Holding and Callum Chambers too much, because then we'll start going into the levels of what our personal opinions are on people's quality. And you know, if a player's picked in the side and he plays well and does his job, which they've both done more often than not, and they've always played, worn their heart on their sleeve when they've played those two. I'm not going to criticise their levels. No, they're probably not the levels that will carry us to the next level where we want to be, and they're not better than what's we got in the starting 11 at the moment. So that's for sure. But just from the point of view that they want to be at the club, I'm talking about someone doesn't want to be at the club. Just palm him off in the under 23s and get someone else in, you know, to fill that position. And he kind of done it with all the other deadwood, didn't he? The other players he didn't want, you know, Mustafi and Ozil, they all got palmed off in the end. And we like Kev said, we got rid of the
cancer
stuff that was under our skin. Yeah, that was was getting to us. So just do the same with him. But other than that, I think Chambers will, you know, and Holding will both have a part to play. And yeah, it's not don't fill me with
for now.
Don't fill me with joy. And yeah, I mean, you know, if just before the Liverpool game, the team sheet comes out and Holdings and is at centre back, yeah, I'm going to be disappointed and slightly more worried than I would have been. But
Kev, you tend to disagree a little bit on this, don't you? Because you think, like, if you're part of the squad and you're being paid by the club and you're there as a body to come in,
it's going to use him. Yeah, it's going to use him, definitely. And I know if there was a young lad who was close, that's different. Or if Kieran Tierney was fit, that spot would go to Tavares. But the problem is Kieran Tierney's out. Tavares is now in the first team. So the next one up is Kolasinac. And let's be honest, you know, Kolasinac in that Leeds game, was it last week? He played left back and then moved into centre back. So he's gonna utilize him. He's gonna give him some game time if he has to, because do you know what? And here's the problem: you never know when you might need some of these players. Unfortunately, you know, injuries could play a major problem for us. And if these boys don't get no game time, what's everyone gonna say? Well, we could give them a game in the cup. So give them a game in the cup and let them get minutes in their legs, and then we'll see from there. Obviously, we don't want to have to go to Kolasinac, do we? We want Kieran Tierney and Tavares fit, fighting for that left-back spot.
For sure. And I just, as a fan, I'm thinking, I've seen them before. I've worn the T-shirt, drank from the mug. You know, I think January, summer as well, bringing in an even stronger resource and squad. Everyone poo-pooed the summer transfer market. So far, it's worked well. We've still got a long, long, long way to go as well, as you guys say.
Here's another one about Chambers and Holding. Saliba's to come back end of the season.
Hopefully.
No, that you mean hopefully.
Yeah, but is he going to want to play, Kev? He's made waves, hasn't he?
He's our player. What do you mean? He's our player. He belongs to us, so he comes back. He's going to be ready. So that pushes Chambers further down the list, and that pushes Holding further down the list. So who knows what's going to happen? Because you know what I see? I see two big, strong, athletic centre-backs, and we've got a ball-playing quick lad in between them. We might just change system a little come the next season.
It's an interesting one because it feels like he's so not been convinced by him. Third year on loan, 27 million investment. There's always talk in the press, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing Mikel Arteta talk about him. I'm sick and tired of hearing Saliba talk about the situation. I'll believe it when I see it. I feel like we're priming to sell him and move on from him. I just don't see it happening.
Well, why didn't we sell him in the summer then?
Because I think we're still trying to add value. David, what do you think?
I I don't know. I'm just trying to think historically, has any player ever been bought for that amount of money, spent 3 years away from the club, their parent club that owned them, and gone back and played any part in that club's future? Because for me, if you splash out that sort of money on someone and then you palm them off for 3 years, why would that player want to come back to that 3 years down the line? He'd been living in different places all that time. He may be at a different time in his life. He might not want to come to London anymore at the end of it. That's why he spent 3 years, moving around.
But Dave, you have to take the mitigating circumstances.
I
different
can't see
managers.
Give me a player. Give me a player that's done it.
No, I'm saying it's a different manager who signed him. He's had 3 managers and he's not been at the club.
Well, so it's all the more reason for it. What is it? He ain't gonna just go on loan for 10 years until the right manager comes along. When he finally comes back one summer and he says, "Oh, Billy, come on, you're in the side this week."
And nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. But if you actually look at the loans, look at the clubs he's played for, and look at the club he's playing for now. He's stepped up every time.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with the fact
No, I hear what you said.
Why would he want to come back to Arsenal?
Hills. I hear what you said, but you got to let me say my piece now, because for me, he's playing at Marseille. He's doing very well. He's going nowhere, mate. He's a young player. He's young. He's learning his trade, and now he's ready.
People saying Chelsea do this all the time. They do that with youth players. Then they sell them on. They get value and they get 18 million from like X club or Y club about it. You can't compare what they're doing. I mean, you could say, okay, Mount will go for a season loan. Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gone maybe on loan more than any player recently. But 27 million on a player that you've loaned out 3 times. He's now out there defending Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, and some other really good players in Liga. Chose to go to Liga, which you were very unhappy with, Kev. You wanted him to stay in the Premier League for his loan deals and stuff like that. And I don't want this to turn into a Saliba conversation, but I just don't think... I mean, maybe I'm talking out of my arse as a fan. If you know, don't you know? David, don't you know? Wouldn't you know? Like, you buy Gabriel, you buy Nuno younger, you buy Sambi Lokonga, you're giving him a chance, Why is this guy? This is not a football issue for me. This is a character issue. There's a clash of personalities.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that if I was that player and I was bought 3 years ago, there would have to be some sort of significant reason why I hadn't played in that team yet or was involved properly. And I don't know if I'd want to be there. I don't know if I'd want to be at somewhere that didn't want me in their side when I was doing so well, when my game was improving so much. When I was defending and playing against some of the world's best forwards. I'd want to know why. Yeah, why wasn't I called back before Ben White was bought? Of course, and that makes me just feel like he won't have a future at Arsenal. And I'm willing to put money on it. I'll tell you what, I'll take you, Soph, and you, Kev, both to the Ivy when he plays his 100th game.
Ooh.
Right?
100th?
And we'll have a night out.
No, 100th. You said he's not coming back.
He's got. Well, if he comes back and he gets in the 100 club, that means he's an Arsenal player. He's wanted to play for Arsenal forever, and he's put the shift in. Yeah, because I know Bakayo done it. He got his 100th the other day, didn't he?
I'll be looking at the menu tonight.
I'll be
looking at the Ivy menu tonight. I tell you,
they got a great bread and butter sticky toffee.
I've got at least 3 years to save for it at that rate. That's all right.
I love it.
But we'll do it.
Is it the Ivy in London or the Ivy in Beverly Hills? Just so I know, because I can make both.
Wherever you want to do it. Wherever you want to do it. So me and Kev can travel.
I love it. Okay, so I know we're talking about the modern day team, but when I get you guys together, I have to go back a little bit too. We got 15 minutes left because we got a hard stop at 9 o'clock here, you guys. And I mean, we could talk about the modern day team all day long. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to do that throughout the season and stuff like that. By the way, everyone, It's a mega deal. Footballprizes.co.uk's Tony Adams and Patrick Vieira. Put your hands together. It's the best club sandwich you'll ever have in your entire life. On your wall, 2 of Arsenal's greatest captains. Need I say more? Visit our friends at footballprizes.co.uk for that one. So I got some pictures, because you know me, I'll always find pictures. And I wanted to start off with this little gem. Our very good friend of the show, Matty K, sent me some absolute corkers. What is this, eh? So Matty K had a program from back in the day.
Look at them ties.
What do you mean by what is this? Do you not know what a trophies look like?
Well, Kev, I've seen a few
Is he a
in my
Tottenham
time.
fan? He must be a Tottenham fan. He don't know what they are.
He don't. Matty K,
No,
man. I'm telling
I'm asking. Matty K sent me these pictures, and I tell you something, that this is an absolute classic. And of course, there's a program that he sent me. This was the team on the day. It was Arsenal v Leeds. And it's Seaman, Dixon, Winterburn, Thomas, Bold, Adams, O'Leary, Hillier, Smith, Merson, and Kevin Campbell. Look at that.
You know, you see that as well, Soph. Look, we were so hard back in the day. We didn't even have subs. Just the
Yeah, you had to write that. You had to write the
You had
subs
to
in.
write them in.
You had to
Nobody
write
even knew
them
who the
in.
subs were. They didn't tell nobody until an hour and a quarter before. And look at that, Gary Speed as well. What a player! What,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Good
so
side.
well
They had Batty.
That
Look
Leeds
at Batty,
side
John
was
Lukic,
frightening. Yeah.
Chapman.
Yeah.
Do you remember Chapman back in the day in the air?
Gary Mack, Gordon Strachan, Carl Schuck, Huggy Bear, Chris White, Chris Fairclough. Good side.
Yeah, good side. He also
Good
sent me
side.
this Arsenal Football Club, Arsenal v Manchester United, Monday the 6th of May, 91. Kickoff at 7:45. It was his standing ticket in the South
Look at the
Terrace
year.
clock end.
Yeah, look at the year. Love it.
So let me show you something. I don't know if you're going to be able to get this up on the screen. I don't know where you're going to see it. I don't know if you can see that. Let's get that a bit.
Could you screenshot
Can't
it and
see it,
send
can
it? Can you screenshot it and send it?
Let me send it to you, Soph, right? Get this
Okay.
picture up if you can in the next 2 minutes, right? And it fits in with just what you've
put up.
just said. Yeah, with the leads and that. You're like this.
Hey, Sophie, that tie was Mr. Byright, love. I'm telling you.
Oh, come on, Mr. Byright. Those were
That
the days.
tie was Mr. Byright. That's all we could afford at the time.
Wait there, Kev. Wait till you see her face when she sees this.
Okay, so you guys keep... Okay, let me put something up so you guys can talk while I load this picture real quick as well, because, I mean, look at this ad here.
It's a classic. Oh, look at
The
that. Kev.
JVC.
Love it. JVC. Oh,
And
Maxi
then-
Miller. Love
Look
it.
at
Love
his
it.
sweatshirt tucked in as well. That is,
Oh,
that
man.
is proper 80s, isn't it? 80s, 90s. And you can tell how comfortable Andy Linnigan was modelling, can't you?
Look at
'Cause,
him, look. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like meat and 2 veg and a pint of bitter kind of bloke,
That's
wasn't
it. You got a Yorkshireman, God's country, isn't he?
Oh, yeah,
Yorkshireman.
yeah.
Brilliant lad. Brilliant guys.
And then, do you guys remember the club line?
Yes, I do. I do.
so
he? More like a
good.
dateline, doesn't it? Look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, it looks like one of those 800 numbers.
No, what it is, it's Mercy's just on the phone to his bookie. All right? He's saying, put a tenner on that for me. Put a tenner on that for me.
Tenner on trap 2. Oh, God.
And then look at these. Look at this. Look at these thighs. Look at that. That's from the program that Matty sent. And this
Yeah.
where is the other one too? This was when you got a hammy, Kev, and they were talking about your hammy. So let's see. I'm going to put this picture up that David just sent. Hold on 1 second. It's worth it, you guys. It's worth the wait for all this stuff. Let's be
I've got
honest.
to say, Kev's hammy was as big as most people's thighs back in the day.
What's going on here?
So you
This is
talked
the-
about
is this the
Leeds, weren't you?
Panini? Yeah.
That
Yes,
programme
it was,
from the Leeds
yeah.
game. So there's David Batty and Gary McAllister.
Gary Mack, yeah.
And that was just what Leeds games. I don't think the ball ever was on the floor. It was just like that all the time. That's all I remember.
Battle, yeah.
It was, but we had that for the game
Yeah,
against
the
Leeds
sticker
in
album.
the
Look,
cup
the
other day.
Football 93 sticker album front cover. Hillsy's on it. Love it, Hills.
Look at that. Sponsored
I
by
love it.
Adidas as well. So I was the club were allowed to put that out at the weekend because it's had Adidas on it. Can you believe
Nice.
it? If it had Puma on it, they wouldn't have done it.
Do you guys have any of your Panini stickers?
Are you winding me up?
Come on, so
All right, Kev, is this Hillier behind you guys?
Yeah, of course. Look at him. Like,
Blue suit. I still got the suit. That's from Pal Saleri.
Pal
We went
Saleri,
up there,
yeah.
didn't we, Kev, to get our
Yes.
cup final suits.
Yeah, we
Oh,
did, yeah.
So good.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate.
So good.
That's me trying to get on it.
It is. You're trying to get on it here. And then, of course, I started with this. This is just gold.
Oh, that's where it all started, though, isn't it?
All
Where
started
it all
there.
began.
So, youth
And-
cup
and-
team. Yeah.
And Kev, you talk about older players, you know, kind of leading the way and stuff like that. I mean, what's going on here, eh? The ref's got the yellow and the red out. What's happening?
Yeah, Dicko's gone, and he was that against Tottenham that game.
I think so.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was, I think. Yeah.
I think that was
It
against Spurs. Yeah, he weren't happy, Dicko. I put my arm around him, didn't I? You know, because I knew I
Tell him
was,
to
I was
get off,
going in at
yeah.
right back probably.
Oh,
And then,
mate.
Kev, I found these ones. What's going on here, eh?
What do you mean, what's going on? We're
It's
celebrating.
another parade.
It's another parade. It's another fun time. And look at the boys. You know, it means a lot, Sophie, to see the boys. We spent so much time together with these guys. And to be successful, that's what comes at the end of it.
Do you know
Parades.
what I think when I see them pictures, Kev? I look at them and I think 20 players in the whole of this country got to do that year,
Yes.
and I was one of them.
And you're one of them.
20
You're
players
part of
that
it.
played
Yeah.
football. Yeah, out of all of the people that play and love football in this country, 20 people get to do that every year. So in 100 years, that's only what, a couple of thousand people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's we was one of them people. And I always look at it like that. I just think,
What-
it was fantastic.
Special time.
That's what makes it all so really special. Kev, is
That's the
that-
picture. That's the pic. Go back. That's the picture.
Oh, look at
Hills,
that.
look
That
at
is
Tony
classic.
Donnelly, Theo, and Cruncher. Bill Gray.
Bill
That man on the
Gray.
right.
That's no banana. That's
No. That man on the right, Sophie, is Bill Graves, right?
Tell me, Kev.
And he used to drive the JVC bus. Anybody who remembers like the youth team and stuff like that, young pros, we used to drive. We used to get picked up and go on the old JVC bus like a mini coach. He was the driver, and he used to crunch the clutch so much that Pat Rice named him Cruncher, right? And him and Charlie Nicholas were always at each other's throats, like, you know, Bill Graves, that Scottish git, like, you know what I mean? And Charlie would come up to him, he had a bit of a conk on him. That's no banana! That's a nose! And he used to touch it, and Bill used to want to punch him. It
He
was
used to call
brilliant.
him Jimmy Durante, didn't he?
Jimmy
Yeah,
Durante.
Jimmy Durante.
Snuzzle
That's no
Durante!
banana.
He used to go crazy. He used to go
Oh,
funny.
you do that really well, Kev. Oh my
Honestly.
gosh, how awesome is that then? So this, when you see, this is what I love. You've had experiences that are so unique and so special, like David said.
Well,
And
you know
then-
Theo in the middle.
Yeah.
But that
he's
man
been
on
the
the
show.
left, that man on the left is Tony Donnelly, who was the first team kit man. And let me tell you something, Hills will back me up on this. He wouldn't when I got called up for my first game with the first team, Everton away, he wouldn't even give me a club tracksuit. I had to wear my own tracksuit. He said, Mister, because he always used to call us all Mister. He
Yeah.
said, you're not part of it yet.
That's what he said, yeah.
You're not part of it yet. You had to earn it, Soph.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't get a club tracksuit until I was 20.
Yeah, 100%.
Believe that.
You didn't get nothing. Even if you played the half of one season, until he saw a squad number and you was in the team picture at the start of that season, You got nothing. You was
got
just
nothing.
you was a lucky combination player who was stepping up to the first team.
Oh yeah,
In his
it was
eyes.
brutal.
In his eyes.
Oh my God.
He was brutal, and his wife Ethel used to do all the laundry and stuff. And I remember one pre-season, Hills, you remember we had to come in early, and me and you were cleaning the grout between the tiles with a toothbrush. We had shorts on, trainers, and we were sweating buckets cleaning because it's hot up
We
there.
used to be there after a game, after a midweek night game. Finished. They wouldn't get out of the dressing room until 10:45, 10 o'clock. And it was all the marble floors, heated floors, and all of that. And we'd have to scrub them with soap powder, soak them with hoses, and then dry them with towels. Get it all done, and then you'd think, "Yeah, I'm on my way home." And then Donners would come out,
Mister.
and he'd have this out, this little thing here, his
Curly
little
finger,
right?
a curly
and
finger.
he would get it, and he would go, and he'd fight to the top of the door, and he'd go like that along the top of the door. And he'd look at his finger and he'd go like that to you and he'd show you the dust on it. And he'd say, "I'll see you Sunday morning."
Oh, geez. You get a Sunday.
You got Sunday
Sundays.
for that. So
Oh, my God. So
10:30, you got to leave by 11 as you're not getting home. You're not getting the last train, you know. And then I'm back again at 6 in the morning, 6:30 on the trains again, going back. And at that point, he gives you a Sunday. So the only day you had off, you've now got to go in on.
you got to go in.
And you're not, when he says that, you just move on, right? You're not
No
saying
one
anything
argued,
back.
no one argued with Donners. He didn't
Well, I
even
was
keep
the-
a record.
I was the
He
only
used to
one
tell
who-
you had 6 Sundays in the book. You had 6 Sundays in the book.
Hills, do you
Wow.
remember what happened between me and Donners? I'm not even going to mention it on here, but I was the only one that had a real problem with him. And I was adamant. I nearly left the club because of it. So there you go. I was on my way out of the club because of it.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you
But
allowed
you know, after that, George Graham didn't want any part of it. Pat Rice had to come and sort it out. But he's when we were youth team players, Hills. Donna's done something. He's done something really bad.
Wasn't he? They was
Yeah.
paddies. He was brought up rough and tough, Tony.
Tough,
And
man.
He was tough, and he was old school. He had all the old school markings. You know, he was. Well, I would imagine. I wouldn't say he was. I would say he was a Catholic, without a shadow of a doubt. And he had a tough, hard, disciplined upbringing, and he did that to the boys as well. So he could be brutal to one or two of us.
Wow. I mean, this is something that you couldn't, no one in modern day football, players can't take that. This is what I love about when I have you two on. This is why I unearth these pictures. I have my sources, by the way. I can always source something. Like these ones, I don't think a lot of our listeners have seen before.
I've seen these, no.
Right.
No.
And is that Sir Alex Ferguson in between Georgie Graham there? Is
No.
Oh, I was wondering, like, what was it? Is it a
I
gathering
know what
of
you're
Scots?
saying, though. I know what you're saying.
You kind of, I get you. I get what you're saying, but no,
That's
it's
Gary
not.
Lewin behind, and it's Gary Lewin's wife.
Oh, right. Okay.
Two other people in the picture. Ken Fryer. I don't know who that fella is.
Yeah.
I know who it is. I know it is Hills. Oh, look at the hair, Hills.
Look at the long
Love
hair
it.
here. Look at
Yeah,
that.
you know what I mean?
Whoa, come on.
I can
Come
still
on
do
now.
that if I want. If I just let it grow, it'd be just like that.
With your
It'll be
hair
just like
and
that.
Casey's thighs. Look at this. This was the program that Matty K sent me. 89-90 was a momentous season for, well, it was the 91, but they were talking about the previous season. It's brilliant stuff. I mean, it really is. Seeing all this type of stuff and, this and the club lines and everything, like a lot of fans have kept a lot of great
Sophie,
stuff.
could you get
This
that previous
JVC
picture
ad,
back on? Yeah.
Which,
The one with us in all the Arsenal gear.
the one with...
Andy
Kev
Linnigan,
wants to
Alan
have a
Miller,
look
and
at his
Oh,
modelling
yeah.
technique.
Yeah. I'll bring
Right.
that one up. Andy Linnigan, classic.
Put that up. I just want
this
to
one.
remind Hills of something. Hills,
Go
look
on.
behind my right.
No, I can see it already.
The steps.
you don't need to
Those
say
were
it.
the steps. Sophie,
Those were the steps.
Alan Miller, who's in the middle, I used to have to carry him up all them steps. Hills was on the other side carrying someone else, and we used to have to carry each other up and down them steps.
Oh man.
Have the East Upper.
That was the original. So we had an original Tuesday club. So when you joined the club, you did join a Tuesday club. It was the Tuesday running club.
Running club, mate.
and all you did on a Tuesday, you went to the ground and you
No
run.
footballs. No footballs.
No football. You run. You did 6 different sessions in running.
Horseshoes,
half
laps, figure of eights, football running, up the stand. I remember it all as if it was yesterday, mate. I tell you.
Wow.
We used to do it. You used to start behind one goal and just like all the way to the other, and that was your half lap. And then, but what would happen was, if you was running with someone else, if they got there before you, the next partner would go first. So you was playing catch up from the start, and it was on that red track.
And Ricey,
the corners were square.
Well, he'd stand in the. Remember,
there weren't no curves.
Sophie, remember, it's the track on the outside of the pitch.
I was going to. Okay. Yeah.
So it's a bit longer, right? And Pat Rice used to just stand in the middle. Rambo, he said, "You're down. You're down." I'm like, what the hell? Hillier, you need to catch him. You know what I mean? And it was mad, man. It was crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh my God. Just love it.
We used to have a run over at London Colney, the cross country.
The cross country.
It was an awful run. It was a hell of a run through fields, and if you did it in the winter, you would be like 4 inches up your leg. And there was one lad, Wesley Reed, who could run.
Wes was a great runner.
He was
great
a proper
runner.
Distance runner. I went to play for Millwall, didn't he? He does a lot in the community now. He's a really good lad. And Pat Rice would set him off 2 minutes after everybody else. And he'd say, if he catches you, you're doing it again. And I swear to God, he caught people in his time.
That was my biggest nightmare. So
he had the heart.
That was my biggest night, because long distance running ain't my game. You know what I mean? So funny, it was the biggest nightmare, because I can't do it again. Trust me, I ain't doing it again. So I had to get a flipping move on, man.
Yeah, it was hard. It was a
hard run as well.
So good, absolutely brilliant stories.
And you wouldn't get that
stuff.
now. You know, like sort of 15 of the leading players in the top league of the country just trotting down a country lane, sort of on a Tuesday morning, like
seeing people moaning and all that. You know,
and you're just like holding. Yeah, sorry. I've got someone chasing me. You know,
not being funny. Back in the day, every now and again, if you were in the air, you could see, like, you know, there were times where you would see, you know, you were doing these long distance running things, and you'd see players out. You know what I mean? There was this, you know, it was so cool back then. There was this accessibility.
You could do it then. You could do it.
And so we used to go in pre-season. And in pre-season, we used to go to Trent Park. So,
oh
you know,
my
Trent
gosh,
Park, yeah,
absolutely.
Oakwood. We used to go to Trent Park for the first few days, all of us together. So you got the youth team, the reserves, and the first team all mingled together. And it was a nice touch for us, you know, us youngsters at the time.
Listen, we Greeks used to love doing a kebab there. So, you know, in Trent Park on a Sunday. And then during the week, it was like, you know, going incognito to try and spot Arsenal players. I mean, it was...
I tell you what, there was no kebab eating for us. There was plenty of throwing up. I remember the only way that they thought you was actually getting fitter was if you was vomiting. You know, and they had a run in there, didn't they, Kev? That hill that we used to stop halfway round. That hill that just kept on
going, and you thought it finished.
And you had to get faster
because it leveled out a bit, and then it went...
Oh, the microwave. Yeah, the classic days. But it was lovely, like Kev said.
It made you.
I remember my first day, I turned up there, Trent Park. We came in a week before the first team, because we run the track, basically, and, you know,
and do all the
padded down all the areas where we was going to do sit-ups and press-ups. We'd already crushed the ground down by doing ours, hadn't we? And, you know, we'd run the track, and then all the players come in. We just all got changed in like the big hall. Yeah. Everybody just sitting around. Me with like all the top players, and I've just turned up 16. And, you know, I've got like Charlie Nicholas there and Viv Anderson.
Viv Anderson, Kenny Sanson's there. Yeah, and there's South London boys like, bloody hell. It was brilliant.
And it's just, and we just all went out and run together. That was it, you know.
Oh, my God. I can't imagine turning up as a 16-year-old and you've got Charlie Nicholas in front of you and Viv Anderson. Like, that's intimidating. Jeez. Big time, man.
It's brilliant.
Wow. Just brilliant stuff. Absolutely fantastic stories. We do have to stop there. We could go on for hours, but we're going to save it for another show because there's so many more of these great stories to come.
That's no banana. That's a nose.
That's my nose.
Are you saving that for next time?
Oh, I tell you, Bill Graves. Oh, some of the stories are crazy. Oh, brilliant.
These are by far my favourite shows because we've got a lot of listeners like Sophie and others in the house who are much younger, but they love these stories. It connects them with the history of the club, and it is absolute gold. And there are 300 of you in live chat. And, you know, seeing as David and I have both brought the dogs out tonight, it would be remiss of me, Kev, to not just do this at least once this evening, especially as we don't care Antonio Conte has become Spurs manager.
Good. That's no problem. That's no problem. They wreck managers over there. So if you like the Gooners and you hate that lot, do a viddy, smash it, eat it, caress it, and just touch that like button.
He's right on Dave's head. I feel terrible.
Oh, love
about
it,
this.
love it. Eels, nut it, Eels, nut it. Nut it, Eels, that's it. That's it. Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant stuff. That's all I have, Kev. It's you and Dave to close the show.
Well, it's great to have my partner in crime back on. Obviously waited a long time for him to come back on, and look, the show goes so quick, I didn't even realise we were on that long. Squaddies, you make it. Sophie, you set it up, and the Squaddies make it for joining us. And, I just want to thank Dave Hillier for coming on. Have a great holiday, Hills. Don't be so long until you come back on our Tuesday's club, mate. And all I've got to say is, Squaddies, enjoy the rest of the football. And at ease, Squaddies, take it easy.
It's been great. I'll see you soon.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.